Well, Andrew McIntosh is the man setting up the government's Anti-Corruption Commission. I caught up with him a short time ago. Minister, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Josie.
Andrew McIntosh, you've argued for years that Victoria desperately needs an Anti-Corruption Commission. When will we have one?
Well, certainly we're working intensively on the whole project at the present time. The Premier, of course, is committed to legislation being introduced sometime this year, towards the end of this year. It's a significant task. We have a consultation panel that's consulting widely with a number of key stakeholders on a specific issue.
Will we have one this year?
Well, certainly we are committed to introduce the legislation into the House before the end of the year.
Do the current events involving Victoria Police and indeed your government show there is a need for an Anti-Corruption Commission right now?
Well, certainly we've argued for many years that there needed to be an independent, a genuinely independent, broad-based, that is, across the whole public sector, not just confined to Victoria Police, that dealt with corruption in the public sector. But for some reason, the former government chose not to have that model.
Given the wait before your Anti-Corruption Commission is established, are you considering holding a Royal Commission into the events of the last few months involving Victoria Police?
Well, the reality is that we will have a fully fledged Anti-Corruption Commission that is accountable, where the powers that are used by that body will be determined to be seen to be appropriate and proportionate.
Are you ruling out a Royal Commission in the interim?
Well, I'm not ruling anything in or out.
So you could have a Royal Commission?
No, the fact is that we have a mechanism in place. And the important thing is the IBAC, of course, will be able to review all of the current matters and determine, and in that degree of accountability will be part and parcel of the process. The fact that it won't be established by the 1st of July, if it's established halfway through this year, and if it's established towards the end of the year, the fact is it will have the capacity of reviewing whatever has been currently before the OPI or otherwise.
OK, going to that matter, the Police Minister's key advisor on police matters is being investigated by the OPI and has been forced to resign from Victoria Police. Why should he remain a political advisor?
Well, I don't know that. That's pure speculation.
That's not speculation. That's been confirmed by Victoria Police today.
Well, the fact is, that hasn't been formally provided to the Victorian government. The fact is, he remains an advisor. He's entitled to any form of presumption of innocence, and the reality is we haven't been informed officially or otherwise that he is currently under investigation.
Do you believe he's done anything wrong?
Well, he's entitled to presumption of innocence.
Are you comfortable with the fact that the Office of Police Integrity is investigating a political advisor and potentially listening into conversations involving members of your government, potentially the Deputy Premier? Well,
again, that's speculation. As you know, under the legislation, this is not something the OPI can officially confirm or deny. The reality is that this is pure speculation, and the reality is I only will deal with the facts that are put before me, and I haven't been told anything to the contrary and should not be told, and indeed if I was to discuss that it would be a serious criminal offence.
But does the idea of phone calls between advisors and ministers being listened into, does that concern you?
I'm not going to deal with hypotheticals. The reality is that we need to deal with factual things.
You've previously described the Office of Police Integrity's powers as like a piece of Swiss cheese because it's got so many holes in it. This very organisation that you've said you don't have faith in is now running investigations into very sensitive matters, including senior police and key advisors in your government. Do you see problems with that?
Well, yeah, I do. It was called 11 years of a Labor government that had every chance to get this right. Now, notwithstanding that, as you know, the OPI started, it became a police ombudsman. And the police ombudsman then morphed into the OPI. They had to wait a significant amount of time for telephone tapping powers because they didn't get that part of it right. They couldn't give evidence in court because of the flawed legislation that they brought before the House. Time and time and time again they were warned. And as we said, the other thing that concerns the public of Victoria is, are the powers being used proportionately and appropriately?
But there's no
way of determining that under the current model.
So does that concern you in itself?
It concerns me.
And it's going on now.
It concerns me that there is no capacity of oversight, unlike other anti-corruption bodies around this country, to determine whether or not those powers are being used appropriately and proportionately.
But given that you have raised these serious concerns, you've been on the record saying you don't have faith in the OPI, how can it continue?
Well, it's been unfair to say that. What I've said is the model that is adopted elected. You know, I know Michael Strong. I know him in a former life as a barrister. I certainly have had dealings with him, of course, as the director of the OPI. And indeed, I have no difficulties with him personally, and I regard him very highly personally.
You've said that you don't see a role for the OPI's director, Michael Strong, in your IBAC. What about the deputy director, Paul Jevtovic, who reportedly authorised the investigation into Ken Jones? Do you see a role for him in your IBAC?
Well, I'll just make it perfectly clear. We have said consistently that the government will appoint a commissioner. That commissioner will be someone that has been a judge, is a judge, or someone who is capable of being a Supreme Court judge. Now, that is the criteria. If anybody fits the bill, they can make an application, but the reality is we will appoint the commissioner, and all other positions in the IBAC will be appointed by the commissioner.
Have you met with Ken Jones?
Certainly, as I said, I've met with a range of different people. Of course, police are a key stakeholder in relation to the development of IBAC, and as I said, I met with a range of different people, including members of Victoria Police.
Minister, thanks very much for your time.
My pleasure, Josie.